Working in the NGO community is very fulfilling, but sometimes it's just overwhelming, the bureaucracy.
All of us in the nonprofit world take our missions very seriously.
You're constrained between how quickly you get the work done and how fast you can do it with integrity.
Those of us who are on the inside, those of us who are on the operational end, we want to be just as excellent as our program colleagues are. And that's where Inside NGO comes in.
So in implementing your program, you want that program to be efficient, you want it to achieve its objectives, and you want people to remember what this program was about.
Years ago, a group of young professionals, we were all, I think, in our 20s, got together at a workshop for financial managers, for people doing finance in NGOs, and we all realized that we were probably our own best experts. So instead of relating to our auditors or outside experts, that we would create this support group for ourselves to be able to ask each other questions, give each other advice.
And so we started sharing ideas and approaches and forms. And all of a sudden it got easier. And it dawned on us that if we expanded the group and more people were part of that, it would all be easier for everybody.
Right now in PATH where I work, if we hire you as a finance person, the first thing I check in your profile, inside NGO training, USAID rules and regulations. You don't have it, I book you in the next training. That is how seriously we take it. And that has helped us have actually a whole pool of professionals that really know how to manage funds. Inside NGO has become a core part of my job as a HR specialist. One, because when we set up the roundtables, I have a community that I always go back to when I need support in HR issues. For instance, I don't have to always draft job descriptions, because why should I, when I can ask my roundtable members for a template that they already have and I tweak it to fit the position that I need to recruit for.
There's workshops, there's roundtables, there are resources on the web, and I think one thing that I value very much is just the peer community. At any point, you can shoot out an email, and within hours, sometimes even minutes, you'll have answers to your questions, sample policies, peers that you can speak with to support your own work, and that's really where the operational excellence comes in.
If it didn't exist, we would have to reinvent it because it's that important.
Signing up for Inside NGO was one of the first things that I did at every single organization I've gone to. If we weren't a corporate member, it was a top priority. There's not a single training that we've sent someone to that has not been incredibly helpful, both for the content and also for the networking.
The important role that we saw that advocacy played, because oftentimes international development, the funding for international development is such a small portion of the U.S. federal government budget. I think it's about 1%. And because it's so small, we're an afterthought when they're doing rules and regulations for organizations working with the federal government.
And the EEO is writing these laws. They're not thinking about our industry. We are really a small drop in the bucket.
And so we found that some of the rules just didn't take our issues into consideration. Most recently, we've had great success with the General Counsel's Office at USAID and the Office of Acquisition and Assistance to get a regulation that was very complicated and many pages reduced to less than 4 pages in the Federal Register, which was a huge accomplishment and will make the lives of ourselves and those partners that we work with much simpler and much easier to implement programs.
Joining Inside NGO is really important for any operations staff who want to work in international development.
You have to work with laws in different countries, different jurisdictions, different currencies, different labor laws, and it can be really quite challenging to make sure that you're providing what your staff needs in a secure and safe and good environment where they can carry out their work.
People like to make fun of how these rules are boring and how they are, lots of, thick wads of paper to follow. But the truth is, Inside NGO helps you to distill it into just the few important issues that you need to live by. And then, of course, you can always go back to the detail if you need to check that.
I'm a trainer myself, and we've updated our training, right overnight. When we hear some new regulation comes out, we're very nimble and we're able to update the training curriculum right away, even if it takes us a few extra hours overnight to stay up and make sure that the curriculum has been updated.
You go back to your early childhood learning experiences and you remember how your teacher used to teach you in kindergarten. Every day you took a little piece at a time. That's how we do the training. At least that's how I do the training. Make it simple and make it in small digestible chunks so that people can easily comprehend the information and absorb it.
I can't imagine that we could go by a week without us connecting with Inside NGO in some fashion. Because there in Inside NGO, there is a wealth of information available on processes, systems. So all you have to do is be able to access that. Somebody's already been there, done that, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that really has sort of a bottom line impact on development, because development dollars are then going for development.
Our focus is on practical application of, for instance, rules and regulations. We want people to walk away from the training knowing how to apply what they've learned to their work back in their office.
What we've done within CARE is utilize Inside NGO's training, and especially the training that is now broader than U.S. government work, to ensure that we can marry and match up all the various requirements in a way that makes sense for CARE and the delivery of its mission.
And also the indirect cost workshop was really, really helpful as well. It was a 2-day workshop that got into how to calculate indirect costs and really stressed that it's not so much a science, it's really more of an art. And so it gave a lot of different examples, and it really helped at my job to kind of tweak the way we calculated our indirect cost rate, and it made us more valuable and more attractive to some of the non-U.S. government donors that we were working with.
What we get is what we are doing, it's what is in the market, it's what every NGO is doing, and just learning more and more about what is happening out there helps you even in your growth, even in your job.
And that allows a mature level of learning and understanding. So for that reason I came here to learn more and also benefit more from the program. I hope that others also benefit from my contribution in the program.
The connections I've made through Inside NGO with colleagues who do work like we do is a terrific asset. I can reach out to them and say, hey, how are you handling this situation that USAID has presented us with? Or sometimes it's an operational challenge. If there's a civil war going on, how are you moving money around in the country, or are you? We send our African colleagues to the Inside NGO trainings that are held overseas, and it's what I recommend is the best value for our training dollar.
I don't think there's a single other resource that we spend our money on that's even half as valuable.
If you aren't a member, you should be a member. You can't be an expert in every area, and that's where it's very valuable having the Inside NGO, because then there are a variety of people, similar organizations, larger or smaller, but a lot of the same problems. And it's invaluable to have somebody you can go to and talk to directly, or better yet, go out on a computer and ask a question and not even wait until there's a meeting you're going to.
We got to listen to each other, what the challenges were, how we were organized differently, how our jobs were different and how they were alike. And we bonded. The group still works together and comes together, and that's how people at various levels learn, is by coming together with their peers, I think. And Inside NGO allows that to happen.
The members, one, trust one another, and we really invite people to come in and trust one another, because that is the best way that each organization is going to improve itself.
So we need to broaden the base. We need more people in Inside NGO, not only so we can help more organizations, but also because we need your resources, your thinking, what you bring to the table.
I wish I could, through the camera, just have people feel the experience of having students come, participate in these events, share information, tell us stories about the work that they're doing, the impact that they are having in the field, meeting their colleagues and exchanging ideas and talking about how the work that we've done will benefit them in the future. To have that experience goes beyond just being a member or a trainer or a participant in these events. It really helps us to understand the quality of what can be done to help people and improve their lives.